Cool Beans Comedy, a fantastic collection of comedians making waves at this year's Edinburgh Fringe Festival. The lineup includes some incredible talent: Renee Pezzotta, Suzanne Luna, Corey Martin Craig, and John Zeno. Notably, Renee has been interviewed previously on The Mighty Dragon. She's Smokey from the new series of Frasier, and it was a pleasure to get to know the rest of the Cool Beans gang too and learn about their unique comedy writing process and the special twists they have planned for their act this year. I have a lot of respect for comedians and comic writers. They have the hardest job in the world: to make people laugh. Just to note, folks, it's been announced that Frasier Season 2 will be released on Paramount Plus on September the 19th. Cool Beans Comedy, welcome to The Mighty Dragon.
Hey. Oh, thank you.
Where's my rapturous applause? Welcome to The Mighty Dragon, everyone. Can you introduce yourselves to me? Who wants to go first?
I'll start. I'm John Zeno. I'm one of the producers of the show and one of the performers in the show coming up in Edinburgh.
Great. Suzanne?
My name's Suzanne Luna. I'm a producing director. I'm going to be following these fine people with the camera, and we're going to see what's what.
Okay, Corey?
I am, the founder of Cool Beans Comedy. Lucky enough to work with everyone, producing with John the Edinburgh Cool Beans Comedy with a Twist, and we'll be performing the last week as well.
Great. And finally, Renee?
Hello, I'm Renee Pezzotta. I am one of the comics performing in the show, and it's nice to see you again, Victoria.
Yes, previous The Mighty Dragon interviewee. So
yes, happy to be back. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. This is your first year at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. What can we expect from Cool Beans?
A lot of laughs, obviously. We're bringing 3 teams of comics over the 3 weeks, 5 or 6 people each week, and it's a stand-up show, so it'll be bringing a taste of our brand of stand-up over to the UK, and we've got some big plans. I'll let Corey clue you in on the twist, because the twist was really his innovation. So.
What's the twist, Corey?
The twist is this. John, can I give it away? Are you giving me?
I think it is in the show description. So
great. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the deal. At Cool Beans Comedy, we always stand for inclusivity and proving that comedy is a universal language. Now, I understand we're Americans, so we're going to see how we translate. However, with that being said, the mission of Cool Beans and what I feel has been our secret sauce is, providing a platform for others. So with that being said, we are going to put our motto to the test, and we're going to bring somebody up from the audience and work with our comics backstage while the show's happen, and they are going to headline the show. So that way we can, think about it. Like when I was a kid, I went to magic shows in Branson, Missouri, and I was like, you better pick me, saw me in half. And so I'm just hoping this translate and that people want to do it. But what's cool is our community has afforded so many people to speak their truth. It's real people, real stories, real fun is one of our mottos. So we're going to put it to the test.
Wonderful. I love the sound of this. And I reckon the audience here will be well up for getting up there and doing it. Depends how much beer they have as well.
I think so.
Yeah. So something I mentioned actually in just our chat just a minute ago, Renee forwarded me a hilarious email. I don't know actually if I was meant to see this description of the group. Renee, professional actress, comic, charming. Corey, professional comic, producer, aggressively positive person. Me, John, an amateur comic, producer and a grump. Suzanne, documentarian, all-round delight. Are you happy, everyone, with this sort of description about yourselves? Is it true?
Yeah.
It sums me right up, I think, as the grump of the group. And
I think so. I definitely agree with the aggressively positive Corey.
Well, I don't pay for teeth whitening not to smile 24/7. You know what I mean?
I need some of that. I drink too much black coffee. So, oh, wonderful. So behind the Cool Beans creative process, can you describe that? How have you all got together?
The whole thing for me started when I went to Edinburgh last year as an audience member, and I had done stand up for a few years, 8 or 9 years ago in North Carolina, and I was just the Edinburgh experience is just amazing. I'm sure some of your listeners have been, and it really is something else. And when I got back, I said, I've got to get back on stage. I really realized how much I missed it. And so I just started looking for, a great way for people who are getting started is classes, because it gives you guaranteed stage time. It gives you feedback from professionals. And I found Cool Beans right away, and all the ratings for it were great. And so I signed up for the class, and it was just amazing. And so I think it was at the end of the first session, right, Corey, that I mentioned I wanted to go back as a performer, and Corey's like, and this is Corey's phrase so often, is there a world in which Corey opens a lot of
I'm not going to lie. I stole that from Suzanne.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a gentle way in, you guys. Everybody take it out there. Is there a world?
But I actually love hearing this. What did I ... John? Is there a world in which?
Is there a world in which there's a Cool Beans show that goes? Because I was like, I don't know that I can do an hour, and so that was sort of this one little phone call was the sort of beginning of this big plan, and it's been. We'll get into, I guess, all of it, but it's just been a really fun journey, not just working with Corey over it's been a year, just about. It'll be a year right after the festival. But having that support and having, this way of getting in and we very easily, I don't think we ever really even talked about how we're going to divide up the producing duties. It just sort of fell into our sort of natural pieces, and so Corey put together this amazing lineup of Cool Beans comics, and I go ahead. Yeah,
I was gonna say, can we talk about that, because John and I, we have such a deep roster. Like, there's hundreds of people who've been through the Cool Beans comic, maybe even teetering in the thousands, because we started in 2009. So John and I, obviously from his class, what was so beautiful is John's on a text thread with probably, what are you, 8 of you, John?
Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not included. They don't like me that much, but it's okay.
It's your aggressive positivity, Corey. We can't have it.
Yeah, they're like, "What's your vice?" I don't buy it.
Pull it back.
But we created a like a list that we were like, hey, we feel like this would be a fun, diverse representation of Cool Beans, and we sent out the email. And I remember John and I both going, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen. And I would say Renee and like probably 5 others within probably in 10 minutes were like, yes. And we're like, oh, okay.
Great.
We started going, okay, who's the next group that we'll ask? And we were a little concerned. We're like, oh, can we put this many people up? The people were so excited. And I just keep hearing from people on the team, like, I can't believe we're doing this. I'm so excited. It just we're teasing Corey about his positivity, but it permeates through, and everyone's just like stepped up in a way that's it's just very team. And I don't teamwork. It is that everyone's there to help each other, and there's no like, am I going to get my time? It's all very like, how do we put together this great show? We've had one meeting where we got everyone together, and it's just been great. Yeah.
And I would say, Victoria, that like Corey and I have known each other for years on and off. We studied acting together with Steppenwolf West out here in Los Angeles, and that's where he and I met. I used to do comedy professionally back in the 90s into the early 2000s before I came out to Los Angeles, back when comedy was, king, I guess, Jerry Seinfeld days.
Yes. I've never seen an episode of that. I've never seen one. I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to
okay.
Plane ride, next plane ride. Just download all of it, and you just be amazed. So brilliant.
Yeah,
I will.
It's crazy. And all of a sudden, after Frasier started, you and I talked about Frasier last time.
Yes.
I was like, I think I need to get back up on the stand-up stage. And so I knew Corey was doing Cool Beans comedy, and I reached out to him, and I'm like, hey, so even, I know this is a little sidetrack to Edinburgh, but even if anybody's watching this and they want to try stand-up, this is where you go, because you get immediate feedback, like John was saying, from professionals. It's so much better to me than going out to an open mic and throwing spaghetti at the wall, as I call it. You know what I mean? You're more workshopping in this class, and then you put up a show at a great a legendary comedy club in Los Angeles. And an open mic, I'd be going up the street here to a place called the Ha Ha, which is
I love it.
Very lowbrow. But I listen, I've played there a million times in the early 2000s, so I'm not poo-pooing it. Just saying that, with Corey's class and what Cool Beans does, you get to put up your 5 to 10 minutes in an amazing club in Los Angeles. And it's, I thank him for that opportunity of getting me back into this. And now thank both of them, all of them, for this opportunity to go to Edinburgh, because that's cool. I mean, that's going to be amazing. Even if we're just performing to ourselves, I hope that your audience hears this and says, "Oh, this sounds cool. I want to get up on stage. I'm coming." I hope they will support.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to ask as well. So, from comic acting to wanting to get back to stand up or feel that excitement of stand up, what is that? What's the difference?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When you're an actor, you're a gun for hire, right? They give you lines, you speak those lines, you perform, you have a director telling you what to do. When you're doing stand-up, you've written that material, you're working that material, you see in the moment, instantly, if it works or not. And then you correct based on what's happening with that audience. And listen, sometimes you have amazing material that kills some nights, and then you go up there and maybe you're getting too comfortable with your material, right? And you're not giving that energy and passion that you usually do, and you hear it in the audience because their reactions aren't the same, right? Because every audience is different. And it's just that the excitement of the changing on a dime and figuring out how to make it work and making, entertaining people. That's what it's all about for me. I love it. Since I was a teeny weeny little girl standing on my fireplace hearth, flipping my hair like I was Cher with the Sonny and Cher show. I've always just wanted to make people laugh. And so comedy was like the easiest way in to do that. When I was in New York, I'd go to clubs, I'd, make people laugh for 10, 15 minutes. Eventually I got up to 35, 45, and then I stopped in the early 2000s. I just walked away from it. But then being on Frasier and making people laugh and having that live audience there during the tapings made me go, I miss this energy, this giving to the audience,
Okay.
Long-winded. I don't want to steal from anybody's time, but that's
no problem. One for Suzanne. With the comedy writing, I always think is a level above any other writing. It's easy to make people scared, but to make people laugh is actually very difficult, I think. How do you deal with this? How do you think that's not good enough, or that's brilliant?
Well, it's really, I'm not a writer by trade. I'm a producing director. And my time on this planet has always revolved around comedy, kind of diffusing a charged situation. So what I love about stand-up, and specifically that kind of medium, is that, like Renee was saying, it is completely immediate. In the moment whether it happened or not, and whether you hit or not. There's no better feeling for the audience and the performer for that connection to be made and that eruption to happen. It's so pure, it's so in the moment, and it's so honest. Because an audience is not going to just fake laugh, their way through a 5-minute set. They're just not going to. Right, Renee? I mean, you guys have all done it. So hearing that electricity in the room is really exciting as a director, and then being able to take notes and maybe say, I saw this work and you had him here. The tension was really beautiful here. And then it got released in a way that I think there's another joke, there's another laugh to be had. And then mining all those things and just taking this soup and boiling it down so that you're just in this beautiful cadence of communication with an audience, all of us trying to figure out our lives on this planet, what we're doing here, what our purpose is, the big whys, and we get to share that with laughter.
Right.
There's nothing more beautiful. You can take the most tragic thing on the planet, and with one sentence, you can let the air out.
Right.
And then we can all connect, right? Because we're
Yeah.
not all that dissimilar. We're all the same. Just
And
little variation. Little tones.
writing comedy in a woke world, has this changed your material at all as a group, would you say?
Maybe. I mean, my style is not. I'm one of our teachers described me as stupid smart, and it's
Stupid smart, love it.
and I'm not, and it's certainly in the Cool Beans oeuvre is to not be making fun of people or poking at people too much. It's a more positive form, and that also just sort of gels with my style. I don't find the woke stuff a problem. In fact, I think it's a thing for us to embrace. We shouldn't be out trying to harm people and hurt people's feelings or any of that. I think it's sort of important. And I also think it's better as a writer, it's better for comedy. Constriction makes your writing a lot better. If you can say anything you want, it's kind of hard to be funny. I find if there's some rules or some guidelines that I have to fit in to some degree, it makes us more creative in ways. When I first noticed this, I was hosting a Halloween party when I was in graduate school, and the first year was fun. Everyone had good parties, good ideas, and then the next year I said, okay, everyone has to come as their idea of hell or someone who's going to hell, and the costumes just were elevated, just with that little constriction around it. It boosted creativity a lot. And I'll tell you, the winner that night was one of my friends who came as her advisor, who she said was her vision of hell and someone who's going to hell. And I was like, well,
that's excellent.
That's great. And to me, this wasn't a comedian, this was a grad student, but just this sort of putting some rails on it, for me, I think boosts your creativity a lot.
And I think the state of comedy, I think we want to see vulnerability. I think back in like the 90s, it was the ba-dum-dum shtick. And now I want to get to know you. And I think if you talk about yourself and at least be vulnerable with your truth, you're going to relate to your audience more. And then I think we'll be able to go with you on a journey. So in terms of the whole woke culture, as long as we're taking attack at ourselves and self-deprecating humor in an honest and relatable way, I think we're safe. And I think that's what I feel, is, again, the real people, real stories, real funny. John comes in and his very first set was talking about going to Edinburgh, tripping, breaking his finger, and then like making that into a bit. Renee, the same thing. And so I love just being able to use this art form as I feel like the most empowering art form around. And I think that's, again, the message and the twist that we'll hopefully have with a drunk audience member, or not drunk, but probably drunk.
And I mean, that's
probably will be. Yeah.
That's the deal about comedy for me. It's truth exaggerated, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's always been my method, even in the 90s where it was bump kind of a thing. I never was Corey's always trying to get me to get my words down a little bit because I'm a storyteller when I'm doing my jokes, right? So sometimes I have extra words, and it's been so liberating to be able to look at these paragraphs on my page and go, you know what, he's right. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this to say the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's like really, it's cool to craft it and get it. But when it comes to like woke stuff, again, if you're speaking from your truth, I have I won't tell the joke right now, but I have an IVF joke because I went through that. And here in America, we have some rights and stuff that are being squashed and taken away. And I've made one of my funniest bits out of that,
Right.
So it has to do with 15 embryos that I should have kept frozen and claimed on my taxes all these years. But, that kind of stuff. So that some people might be like, oh, what is that? What is she talking about? But, that's my truth.
Yes. Okay. What expectations do you have of the British audience?
John, I'm going to let you take this one because you were at Edinburgh last year.
I want them to be fun.
Yeah, we're hoping at least one of them up on stage each night. Although I want to tell anyone who's listening who doesn't want to do that, we are not going to forcably bring someone up. There,
or are we? No.
Or, well, we might.
There aren't enough of us. People get, they get squirrely when you grab them. So we're not going to do that. Let's be clear.
I think my experience with them last year was they were great. They wanted to be entertained. They came into every show. I think I went to 20 shows in 4 days last year, and I went to one show that it was upstairs of a bar. There was I think room for seating for 20, but there was only 3 of us in the audience, and all 3 of us were like, "We're all in. You just tell us. You just give us your stuff." And then I saw Sarah Pascoe at 1,400 seats or something like that, and same thing. We're all here, and yeah, that spirit of Edinburgh, like I said, is a chunk of why I'm doing this, is because the audiences were great. They just they had a high bar. They were expecting good comedy, but nobody was mean at all. Even when stuff didn't work, they were just like, all right, give us another one. So
great.
I think I have good
high
feelings
expectations.
about it.
Great. Yeah. So this isn't your first time, John, to Scotland, but how about the rest of you? Is it your first time?
My first time.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I have some friends there, so I know that in a couple of shows at least, I'll have a couple people. But I'm looking forward to it. I've been doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of people about it, and I'm ready to go.
Fantastic. Corey?
I mean, it's my first time. I'm lucky enough. Suzanne, she doesn't say this much, but I'm going to say it. She's a 6-time Emmy winner. She's worked all over the world with professionals and creative experiences. So to get to kind of see it through her lens of like filming it will be fun. But I mean, I'm honestly only going for the Scotch tasting. That's really.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very good. Suzanne?
Yeah, I've been before. It's beautiful. I can't wait to go back.
Will you be eating the haggis, do you think?
No. No. I try everything once. No offense. Just not for me.
Deep fried Mars bar?
The Mars bar, yes. Yes.
Let me know what it's like. I've never had one.
The Mars bar.
It's what we call Snickers.
The candy bar,
yeah.
Deep fried Mars bar. So
anything deep fried. Just it's county fair stuff. It's delicious. There's a reason they do it.
Whiskey will clean your arteries out.
Yeah, I recently lost 50 pounds, so I'm like, I might try it, but I'm not going to go crazy.
Well done on that. That's great. So also while you're in Edinburgh, will you be getting to see any of the sites or anything else in Edinburgh?
Yeah, actually, my girlfriend is going to join for a few days, and I was like, "Oh, great! I'll start planning out all the shows we can go to and stuff." And she said, "We can do things other than go to shows." And I was nonplussed. I was so confused. So yeah, I think we're going to go. I don't know, look at some sheep or a castle or something like that.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Renee, when we last spoke, obviously we discussed Frasier, and you've been filming the new season. Are there any little nuggets of gossip that you can give us or not? No.
I can't spill a lot of beans. I will say last night they taped episode 8 of 10. So there's 2 more still to be filmed.
Right.
I will say this, and most of it's public knowledge. You can look up who these people are, but this season, amazing guest stars. Oh my goodness. It's so many great people. Some people from the past, from the old show coming back to make an appearance or 2. Just some amazing guest stars. It's going to be a heck of a ride, season 2. You guys are going to love it.
Yes, I can't wait.
Excited. So excited.
Wonderful. Yeah. So just finally, where can we find our tickets to come and see you?
Well, I'm gonna jump in here because we made a hyperlink. coolbeanscomedy.com/fringe.
Right.
It takes you directly there. But John, how can they get them if they're on the app or whatever that is?
Yeah, the Fringe app, which I recommend. It's great. It's really easy to use, and you can find anyone you want. So the app, the website, we're in the printed program that should be coming out soon. If not, it might be out already. And it just search Cool Beans Stand Up with a Twist, or just type in cool, because we're the only really cool show. Well, we're the only show that starts with the word cool. So
perfect.
And we've got a couple of free nights in the early part of the run, and 2-for-1 nights. So look for those. But
we hope John and I will be there first week, just FYI.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so we'll be there on the 2nd for the opening, the preview weekend, and then the first full week. And then I'm there for the second week as well. And then I will exhaustedly return to the States and Corey will come and take over.
Oh, wonderful. Wishing you all the very best for it in Edinburgh.
Thanks.
And a huge success, I know already. So wishing you all the best, guys, and come back onto the Mighty Dragon, please.
Anytime. Thanks,
so
Victoria.
much.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.